Welcome once again to our interview series. Today we have Jude Hamer who's going to join us. We're going to talk a little bit about sports. We're going to talk a little bit about Pride Month and things like that. But first and foremost, we would like to welcome Jude to the conversation. Hey Jude, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you so much for jumping in and hanging out with us for a little bit. If you don't mind, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and go from there.
Yeah, so I play wheelchair basketball for Great Britain. That's my job, professional athlete. So I've been playing since 2007, playing for Great Britain since 2009, competed at 2 Paralympics in London and Rio. We're currently second in the world and second in Europe at a training camp at the moment for the Tokyo Paralympics. Selection is in 2 weeks' time, and then, all being well with COVID and everything else, we'll be on the plane at the beginning of August. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's very exciting. How did you even get into the sport? How did you kind of find that this was kind of your niche and something you wanted to do?
It was, I guess, an accident really. Like I was at high school and I was born with my disability, so I never really did sport when I was growing up. But I was at high school. I just had my leg amputated 15 years ago today. I had that done, and I was just felt just more comfortable to say yes to things, and people were trying different sports around me, and I was at a sports specialist high school, and there was another girl playing wheelchair basketball, and she was talking about it all the time and how amazing it was, and I just really wanted to give it a go. Like, it just sounded so interesting, and just I thought, why not say yes, and why not see if I enjoy it too. I never felt like I could play sport when I was growing up because I couldn't run because of my disability, so I couldn't really ever play with my friends. So I went along to a local club, and I just loved it. Like, it was the first time I'd ever been able to do something and not worry about my leg and not worry about falling over and hurting myself. And it was just, being like a kid and just running around like in a wheelchair. Like, it didn't matter if I fell out, it didn't matter if I hit other people or myself. Like, it was just about being competitive. So I played for like a junior tournament just to get a couple of games in, just to kind of just to play, because I hadn't played any games like at the end of 2007. Accidentally bumped into the GB coach. Didn't know there was didn't really know what the Paralympics were. Didn't know there was a GB team. Kind of accidentally found myself at a training camp for the Paralympics in Beijing about 2 months later. And watched, obviously didn't go to Beijing, but watched my teammates play out there and just really wanted to be a part of it the next time, and started training more and more from there, and kind of fell into a sport that I love.
Man, that's so cool. I'm personally a huge basketball fan, and I've seen some clips of the Paralympics before. What kind of separates the traditional basketball game that maybe some of us have seen on TV or things like that compared to what version you guys play?
So it's done on the same court, same net. Pretty much all of those rules are the same lines, same scoring lines and everything. The only thing we don't really have is we don't have double dribble. We still have travelling. You have to dribble the ball every 2 pushes of your chair. You still have contact fouls, charges, and stuff like that. Pretty much the only difference is that is in wheelchairs. Pretty much everything else is the same. Still technically a non-contact sport, but basketball isn't really that non-contact. So
yeah, man, that's so cool. I can only imagine how cool that experience was. You mentioned you didn't really have a sport or anything like that, but now that you have a sport and you have a lot of similar people around you that you guys can kind of develop with and grow with and things like that, can you tell me a little bit more about that experience, like being with your teammates and kind of running with that?
Yeah, we're really fortunate that there was a big group of us that came up together at the same time, and we all kind of started in the GB setup at the same time, and all got selected for the team in like 2009, 2010, and we've played together for the last 10 years or so. We've had new people come in since then, but there's a big core of us that have played for a long time together, and I think, it's just really cool, like growing up with your friends from like 17, 18, and we've just grown up through the sport together, and we've seen the team go from 7th, 8th in the world to making finals at World Championships. It's just really cool to have that group of people that you've just like grown up with and like done life with, and now we're all like in our late 20s, early 30s, and seeing the success of all those years of training, and starting to do meeting people and settling down, having kids and things, and we're kind of like just growing with each other, and it's just really nice to have like a little family that we know each other so well. It's really nice.
Yeah, and you mentioned there that you guys received the silver medal, I believe, at the World Championships. Can you tell me a little bit about what that was like and playing in that championship game?
Yeah, it was one of my most favourite tournaments. I loved that tournament. It was just the best experience I've had really at a tournament. The team just clicked. We had a really bad run into that tournament. Actually, we were on a 9-game losing streak in our warm up for that tournament, which was a little bit scary. But I think it was actually quite good for us in a way, because we kind of went into the tournament going, okay, like we've got that out of the way now. Like we've started to win again, and we can, there's no pressure on us because we've got all of it out of our system. We can just play. And yeah, it's just like the team all just kind of clicked at the right time, and everyone was just playing really well. Everyone was really just relaxed and just having a really great time, and we all just wanted to be playing basketball, and it was just so much fun. And yeah, we went into that semi-final against the Germans in Germany, and beat them. And they didn't ever come into the game really. Like we won that game very convincingly, and it was just an amazing feeling. Like my parents came to watch, and they never really get to come out to watch me play games, so they turned up on that day and got to watch us win a semi-final, like our first ever semi-final we've ever won.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just amazing feeling. Like I've always dreamed of winning world and Paralympic medals, and finally having that goal. Like we knew we were going to go home with a medal, and we weren't going to have to fight for a bronze. So we, obviously you set out to win tournaments. For us to have made a final is just like it's the best place we've ever done. So it was a great experience.
Man, that's so cool. There's definitely something special to be said when a team comes together and reaches a goal like that. I'm sure that experience was unlike anything else. I do want to talk a little bit about your life outside of basketball as well. And looks like based on some information we were able to track down, you've done some trekking, I believe, in some different areas. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
I guess, that was around the same sort of time I started playing basketball. That I just started saying yes to everything. Like when I was growing up with my disability, I kind of felt quite isolated, I guess. Like my disability is quite rare. I have PFFD, proximal focal femoral deficiency. It's a limb length difference disability, which meant that my right leg basically didn't grow the same as my left leg, and my femur was very short. I had to have a lot of leg lengthening and different operations as a child. And I just, was always in and out of hospital and just felt very fragile, couldn't really do anything. So when I had my leg amputated, I guess I felt like I fitted in more, because you see amputees more, I guess, than you do other the disabilities like I have. And I just started saying yes to things. My mum saw an advert for this trek in a disability magazine, and there'd been a couple of series before on TV, and I just thought I'd apply, and I just wrote an email and had a phone call and went to a little selection kind of weekend, and then a month later I was on a plane to Ecuador at the age of 16. It was the first I've ever been away from home with my family, and I was out there for a month. And we started in the base camp of base camp was in the Amazon rainforest, and we trekked up through the rainforest up to the base camp of Cotopaxi. It's like I think it's one of the largest, if not the largest, active volcano. And then down through the cloud forest and out to the Pacific on the other side of Ecuador. So it was we walked about 10 kilometers a day. It was about 300 kilometers we did. Obviously, we had a couple of days when we didn't, but like I think we trekked most of it, we walked most of it, and everybody that did the trek was disabled. So there was 10 of us that were between the ages of 16 and 21, 2 in wheelchairs, and the rest of us had other disabilities, all trying to trek and get each other across the Andes. So yeah, it was an experience.
Yeah, man, that sounds so awesome. I would love to hear even more about what you do outside of basketball. What are some of your interests and hobbies? Obviously, playing ball is a big part of that, but what else do you consume your time with these days?
When we're not in COVID times, and when I can go out and do things, I love to go to CrossFit. CrossFit's one of my favourite things to do outside of basketball. One of my favourite parts of training is going to the gym. I love lifting weights. I love being strong. CrossFit, I think it's just really fun because it just pushes me to push my body in different ways than I do in basketball, than I do in the gym when I'm lifting. My girlfriend loves it as well. That's kind of one of the reasons we started talking. And yeah, it's something really fun that we both love to we really enjoy watching it, the games, and we love going and working out together when we're when we have the time and we're not both training, and it's just a really fun way to just push ourselves in different ways. And I love the community at CrossFit, and that's a really big thing for me, is like community around exercise and sport. When I'm not, killing myself across for a basketball, I do a lot more sedate things. Like I love to read. That's one of my favorite things to do. I like to read. I have like 2 pet rabbits, so I spend a lot of time just like chilling out with the rabbits and make sure they're not eating the walls and trying to read books. That's kind of like my 2 things.
I love it. Well, you mentioned that you do have a girlfriend now, and you guys met kind of during the COVID time. So with us kind of celebrating Pride Month, I would love to hear your story about kind of last year and all the events that took place with COVID, and kind of how you were able to find love kind of throughout that transition.
Beginning of March, I went home for lockdown. We went into lockdown in March, and I was living in Sheffield. I was living by myself. For training, that's where we were based in Great Britain. So I didn't want to be up there because I live in a 1-bed apartment and didn't have any outdoor space. And just like, I don't know how long this is going to go on for. Our 3-week lockdown turned into a 4-month lockdown. So I'm glad I went home. And just doing lots of workouts and stuff at home. And I never had that much time to be with my family. So it was a great opportunity to just go home and spend time with my parents and be with my sisters. So that was great. I loved that. Me and Lauren, my girlfriend, started talking through lockdown. We started talking earlier in the year, kind of on and off. Like she went to Strength and Depth. She's a rower, so she went to Strength and Depth when they were in London. She was helping teach the athletes how to row for one of their events. And she'd posted about meeting people like Tia Karatimi and Heba Cannon and Marston and things like that. And we wanted to she posted this thing and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you met these people. Like these as if you're just casually posting that you've had just sit down conversations with these people. And we just kind of started talking on and off from there. And then she started doing workouts with other para athletes from different sports. And I was like, oh, we should do this. This would be really fun. We should start doing CrossFit workouts together. So we started doing a couple of CrossFit workouts, and both of us are there I kind of want to pick a workout that I'm gonna be good at and not die, because that's embarrassing. Because I kind of like this girl. I don't want her to think that I'm really unfit. And she picked pull-ups, and I suck at pull-ups. I was just angle the camera so she can't see me be awful at pull-ups, because that's not it's not very impressive, is it? If you can't actually do the workout, pull-ups are not my strength. And she's a rower, so she's great at them. And we just we started doing those, and then just kind of trying to figure out ways to just keep talking, really, how do I keep this girl interested in speaking to me? And then very quickly it turned into talking every day. And then I went to I bought a rabbit and I went to go pick him up. That was how I kind of I know the way to speak to her is I'll say, oh look, I'm getting a pet. You should come and hang out so you can see the pet. And then so we met for the first time in July, when lockdown lifted, and that was kind of the rest is history. And we've not really spent a lot of time apart since then, really, maybe a week to 10 days at a time when we were at training camps. But we spend pretty much all our time together, and it's great. Without COVID, I don't think we'd have had the time to speak to each other. We would never have had the amount of time that we had away from training. And if it was a Paralympic year like it was going to be last year, we would never have had the time to meet up as much as we did and to cement our relationship. So it's been really great.
Man, Judith, it's been so cool to just hear your story on kind of both sides of it, the love side, the athletic side. You have a very interesting story. I'm really glad I was kind of able to hear some of that today. In kind of conclusion, I always kind of like to ask, somebody who is maybe in your shoes, maybe when you were younger, you mentioned kind of trying to find your way as far as finding a sport or finding a hobby. What's some suggestions you have to somebody who's maybe close to in the same position as what you were a couple of years ago, and kind of giving them some suggestions to kind of get to where you've gotten in your life?
My suggestion, the advice I always give is to just try anything and everything. If you think it looks like fun, go and give it a go. If you don't like it, don't do it again. That's not the end of the world. I think that was kind of my kind of philosophy, my approach to things when I was a kid, is that my parents were the same, you just go and try it, and if you don't like it, you don't have to go back, and then it's fine. You haven't lost anything by giving it a go, and you might find something you really enjoy. I think the older they get, the more I'm very keen to push that people shouldn't care what other people think as well. Like if you think it's cool and you want to do it, do it. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. If your friends at school think it's lame to be really into science, but you actually really love it, do it. It doesn't matter. It's your life, and you have to enjoy it, and you have to love what you do. You only get one shot at it, and if you spend your life doing things that you think are going to make you look cool, or you think that other people want you to do, then you might miss out on some things that you actually really love. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters, is that you do what makes you happy and what you love.
Awesome answer. I loved hearing that. That was perfect, and I really hope that touches somebody that listened to this interview real quick. And like I said, just really powerful. All the stuff you've said here in the last couple minutes, it's really cool, and like I said, really inspiring. Jude, if anyone wants to follow you or kind of catch up on your story, where can they find you as far as maybe social media or things like that?
Instagram is @Jude_Hamer, and I think and Twitter is @Hamer_Jude. Yeah.
Cool. Keeping it pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it's got underscores in it. I kind of hope I mentioned that right.
Well, awesome. Thanks again, Jude, for hanging out with us and helping us celebrate not only Pride Month, but with the Olympics and everything coming up. And great luck, or good luck this season. I hope you guys have a great season.
Thank you.